Hey everybody, it's time for another update about Armax. For those of you watching this, you are one of our backers for the Armax Reprints. We're very appreciative of your support, so thank you guys for backing the project. And of course, this is a long-term project, so we started last year and we're working through the process of bringing those Armax Reprints to life thanks to your support. So the only update we have for you right now is that we're finishing up our photography work that we've mentioned in prior updates. That's been one of the biggest parts of this whole journey, is tracking down all those old photos to get as many as redone as we can. We've gotten quite a few done. We have a few more that we're chasing up now. That should be wrapped up here in the next week or two, couple weeks. And then we have a few editorial notes to polish up. And then we will hopefully be sending off to the printer here in the spring, and that will keep us on schedule for a ship date this summer as we offered on the original project run. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at armaxjournal.org or on our social media channels, or email me here at the museum. We're happy to keep you guys in the loop any way that we can. We really appreciate your support. But since we don't have a huge update for you, other than that we're still on schedule and taking pictures, we had to bring out some interesting old guns. So I have two here that are related, and the first one that I'm going to show you is this. This is a very handy little Winchester prototype carbine. It is attributed to a designer, William Mason, best known for his role in the single action army that Colt made in the 1870s. He came over to Winchester, got involved in designing a single-action clone that Winchester took to Colt for the so-called gentleman's agreement that kept the Burgess lever action out of Colt production and the single-action clone out of Winchester production. That's a fascinating story in its own right that I won't dive too much further into here. But then after that, he kept working at Winchester for a number of years and became a really important designer for them. And he actually was often in charge of taking invented designs and turning them into producible guns. So not just a prototype that's sort of rough and hewn and all those kind of things, making that machine producible and repeatable in the factory. But he was also an inventor in his own right. He kept inventing things. And he worked, most notably in my mind, on a series of semi-automatic or self-loading firearms in the 1890s, this being one of those guns. This is a very sleek carbine. It's quite a short barrel. Still in the white, as many of his prototypes are. It does exhibit, despite that, a lot of fine machining and wood work. The wood is not rough at all. So it's a high degree of production for a prototype. But what is kind of interesting about it is that it is a toggle delay carbine, chambered for some cartridge in .45 caliber. We're not exactly sure which. There's a couple contenders, but it is a magazine-fed, box magazine-fed gun with that magazine and this kind of odd retention lever on the bottom here that you have to move out of the way. The keen-eyed viewers among me will also notice that when I worked the toggle, the whole barrel and top of the receiver moved with it. So kind of a weird thing mechanically to fire effectively what is certainly a pistol caliber cartridge of some kind in a carbine, maybe on trend for now, but a really interesting design from William Mason. He worked on a number of these toggle delay guns. We have a shotgun, a very similar action, and a couple other ones, and then a rifle, which I also have here, which is a bit of an evolution. I'm not sure which came first, the carbine or this. The dates are all sort of mid-1890s on the patent drawings. He was working on them for a number of years. But this is one of the weirder mechanical guns in our collection, also attributed to William Mason. And for those watching, prepare yourselves. If you're familiar with how firearms work, what you're about to see may alarm you. So we're just going to go for it. So it does that to unlock the gun and slide it forward. And there was a lot going on at once, so I'll do that motion again. So when you slide the forearm, the gas trap up here at the muzzle goes forward, the toggle at the back goes to the rear. And then when you slide back, the toggle comes forward and the gas trap comes back. And then to lock it all up, there's a lever on the back here on my side where you can lock it into place. It seems to be, I think the best way you can describe this gun is a blow forward toggle delay semi-auto rifle. It is fed from an internal magazine, a non-detachable magazine, chambered for the infamous 30 USA headless, as it's called on the drawings, which must be somewhat close to 3040 Blake, which is kind of a rimless 3040 Krag. But we don't know for sure. That's just a guess based off of what's written on the design drawings. I think that once you've charged the gun, that the forearm is non-reciprocating, so it doesn't do that every time. This can move independently of the forearm, but to chamber around, you do have to do that really weird forward slide, like a slide action shotgun. It's not that unusual, but it does a lot of weird things mechanically. There's a pivot point under here that kicks the toggle and the bolt back while the gas trap is moving forward. Just a really, really interesting and odd mechanical firearm from William Mason in Winchester in the 1890s. Seems like he worked on this maybe till late 1890s, maybe just at the turn of the century. There's some drawings dated as early as 1894 on these guns, and there's some as late as 1900, 1902, something like that. So a short run. As far as we know, nothing really came of them mechanically. They don't seem to have influenced Winchester's self-loaders that T.C. Johnson developed, but they were certainly around, and Mason and Johnson definitely knew each other. So very interesting guns. Hope you've enjoyed looking at them, and they would be just perfect for a researcher out there who wants to delve into William Mason and write about him for Armax. So let us know if that's you. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.